spaceship sounds.
We have the technology.
Welcome to the Stateside Podcast. My name is James Macmillan with your co-host Neil Engel.
Not
What's up?
ready. No, I'm
Hey
good.
Neil, hi. And your trusted producer Andrew Carrion. What's up, Drew?
Ayo, boo boo.
Yo. Tonight we have a guest, Josh Bowman. He's part of the Stateside roster. Josh lives in Toronto, working as a mix engineer, producer, and an all-around badass guy. Thanks for being on the show tonight, Josh. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Excited to talk.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I've been representing Josh for, I don't know, a few months now. When did we officially start working together?
It's been over a month for sure.
Yeah, so it hasn't even been a couple months. That's so funny. You're a busy guy, so it makes it feel like I'm doing a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Well, lots of movement all over the place all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. So, welcome to the show. And what I was going to say is, I haven't known you that long, but I feel like we talk so much. I mean, nearly every day we're either texting, emailing, or getting on the phone, and I never see you. So this is pretty cool to actually have you on Skype where we can actually see you.
You mean you've never seen what he looks like before?
I definitely know what he looks like via pictures and Instagram, but
And all the dick pics.
and all the dick pics he sends me.
Obviously, that's on my other phone.
Yeah. This is a filthy show, Josh, just so you know, so feel free to cuss and make fart jokes and dick jokes, because we're certainly going to.
All
Isn't
right.
that right, boys?
I mean, I'm always naked by the end of it, so.
Yeah. And we usually drink, which reminds me, hey, Drew, can you pass me a beer?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, man. For the listeners, obviously we know you on our end, but for the listeners, if you could, Josh, give a quick bio on who you are, how you got into music, kind of the beginnings and the story of Josh Bowman, the producer and mix engineer.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Josh, obviously. I'm from Vancouver originally. I started in music, actually. I started in school band, as a lot of people do, when I was really young. Eventually started playing drums, played in a few different, garage bands. We did Nirvana covers and played a Perfect Circle tunes and all that kind of stuff. And from there, the band kind of wanted to start recording, so I was the nerd of the group, and got into that and learned that one of the guys' bass player, or dad was a bass player, so he had an old console in his basement, and figured out how to use that. Started recording the band, and then fast forward several years, I've been doing a lot of learning on my own as a teenager. Went to audio school in Vancouver at the Art Institute. It used to be called CDIS out there, but AI bought it out the semester before I started going, which is a whole interesting offshoot.
Right.
And yeah, from school, I ended up getting a job at a big studio in Vancouver called The Warehouse, where I was kind of went up the food chain in the traditional sense. I was a runner for 2 or 3 years, which is a long time for anyone that's worked in a studio, but just no one moved around. There's the assistants that had been there for a decade, and it's a good job. So stuck it out there, eventually became an assistant, staff engineer. At that point, I was doing a lot of engineering, but not, like, the higher up the food chain I went, the less days a month I was working, because in that studio, most people brought outside engineers. Like, at that level, it's all pretty high-end stuff, and they have their own guys they fly in from LA or whatever. So to offset that, I started doing a lot of events work. So I did live sound for front of house for several venues. I did, like, there's a medium-sized, like, 1,000-seat theaters and that kind of thing, and, like, all sorts of, just not music, theater, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually got to the point where Vancouver just wasn't really cutting it work-wise. There weren't enough bands. And so came out to Toronto, and I've been here for 4.5 years now, and it's been amazing. And just mixing all the time. And I think this year, I was just telling James, I do a breakdown. I'm pretty nerdy with, like, spreadsheets and things. I checked out my year, and it's about 82% mixing this year, which is really exciting, because that's kind of been my goal, is to do primarily mixing. And every year, the last 5 years, it's been more and more and more.
Hell yeah.
About a decade into doing this professionally, I guess, maybe 10 or 12 years. And yeah, so just lots of mixing, a bit of producing, a bit of mastering, working with lots of people in Canada, lots of people in the States, international clients, and, everything else in between.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's fucking rad. So
So how did you go from whatever percentage of mixing up to 82? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's
So,
like
so
81
yeah. So if
point
that was your
something.
goal, yeah. So how did you? What were some of the things you did to achieve that through the years?
I mean, from the beginning, just from peers and teachers and everything, mixing's always kind of been. I've just been good at it from the start. Like I listen to mixes from when I was in school, and they're not terrible. I wouldn't release them now, but they're not like awful. Just for whatever reason, that was a part of it that came naturally to me. So I kind of had an affinity for it. I liked it because I was good at it, and I also love working alone, just doing tedious things. Like I can, mix a song for a day and a half, and I don't lose my mind, which a lot of people can't do, or not a lot, but it's a certain skill. And so the last about 3.5 years ago, just after I got here, I made a conscious decision to brand myself as a mixer and just start putting that out into the world and say, hey, I'm a mixing engineer. And people started calling me mixing engineer and just started hiring me for mixing.
right.
Yeah, just
Simple.
It's that simple. You just decided you wanted to do that, and hey, what do you know? People start responding.
I told people that's what I was, and they were like, oh, that's what he is.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah,
just to switch that gear.
I never would have thought, but yeah, so far so good.
Well, that takes care of one of my questions because I think I knew. I mean, obviously, going into it, I knew that your goal was to mostly do mixing and focus on that with the occasional producing gig, if it was right. But that's not the same for everyone. Some guys really like producing. Some guys only want to mix and never produce. And I think for you, it sounds like the majority of the time you prefer to take someone's audio that was tracked, hopefully well, and put your stamp on it as a mix engineer. So I'm really happy to hear that that's the majority of the work that you're doing now.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting though, as the years go by, and it's the last couple of years, it's really ramped up from maybe half or whatever to the majority of my year. I really, really love doing tracking sessions now because they happen like once a month at the most, and just being in a room with people, I was like, oh shit, this is great. I feel like a person.
Yeah, you've talked about it before, dude.
Oh, yeah,
just being in that dark room alone can be a little isolating.
It gets real weird for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Weird is an understatement.
a little weird, a little crazy. Since you are from Canada, most of our listeners, I would imagine, are from America. And specifically probably the West Coast. So kind of tell us, from your point of view, what are some of the differences living in Canada, working in the music industry, and how that affects what you're doing? I mean, is it drastically different from your point of view, or are there more similarities than there are differences?
I mean, as far as what I do day to day, it's definitely just the same. It's, I'm working with musicians. There's all genres here. I guess like the last 5 years, pop and like hip hop and urban stuff, like, Drake's huge, and that he's from Toronto, and there's Bieber was Canadian pop. There's probably a bunch of it. That's not really my wheelhouse. So there's a bunch of artists that kind of blew up in the last 3 to 5 years in sort of more of those genres. So there is a big amount of that happening, like people doing like trap and that kind of stuff, which I don't really do at all here.
Sure.
But as far as what I do, like it's same genre-wise, same workflow. The biggest thing is just population-wise. I'm in the biggest city in Canada, and I think I don't know what the updated stat is, but it's like around maybe 2.5, 3 million people. So, like how many people? I don't know how many. That's the biggest
city?
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's 20 million people in the Los Angeles area alone.
So, yeah.
So that's perspective.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is
crazy.
Finding work. There's, if there's whatever times that is, like 7 times as many people there's going to be 7 times as much everything.
Yep. And also 7 times the competition.
Yeah, but I mean, generally with most fields, as you get into the higher tiers, it doesn't mean there's 7 times more amazing.
That's true. No, absolutely. That's a good point.
The bottom, I think, gets wider, but the middle and the top are bigger, but it doesn't, it's not a linear up. It's like it gets smaller at the top, I think.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. The one thing I will say from my point of view, representing you, and kind of, project managing what you're doing, I've learned the main differences from my point of view is money, right? That's been a real learning curve for me, is the tax situation you guys have
Yeah.
over there.
Yes.
Just the exchange rate. So when I'm talking to an artist and I'm quoting them at this budget for the project, I have to really remember who I'm talking to. Am I talking to one of Josh's clients from Toronto, or am I talking to one of his guys down in Atlanta? And so anyway, I just have to be really aware that it's not. And it matters, because if I quote them at say 4,000 Canadian, well, that's a different number than 4,000 American by a long shot.
Yeah.
I forget the conversion rate, and I still don't know by now, but it's always greater than I think it is.
It's significant. It's actually, our dollar, relatives, really speaking, to the last decade is actually pretty good right now. At one point, I think it was almost half. That
sounds about right.
Yeah, and it's up to, I think, 80% or something. But yeah, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's actually funny. That's like one of Canadians' perceptions of Americans, is because the population's so much bigger and everything's happening there. Like, I think I was telling you recently, I've been trying to do like at least yearly LA trips and networking and meetings with producers I know down there. And 1 week in LA is like 3 months in Canada. Like,
oh yeah.
I'll
yeah. I mean, it's the same thing here. And we live in sleepy town, Portland, Oregon. And when I go to LA, I'm just blown away by the productivity and the fucking hustle that exists down there.
It's amazing. I mean, I love Portland, though. I've been to Portland 2 or 3 times, and it's my favorite. I think it's my favorite city in the States, for sure.
It's probably mine as well.
It's like a kind of a slightly cooler American version of Vancouver.
Yeah. That sounds about accurate. That's so funny. Yeah, Canada is a mystery to me, man. I've only been to Vancouver one time. I think I was about 18 years old. We were on a tour with the band I was in at the time.
Yeah.
We played the show in Vancouver. We look outside, and it's literally just like the end of the world. Fucking heroin addicts and junkies, just like zombies, just trucking along. All of our hubcaps got stolen that night. People kept trying to break into our van. We literally saw people shooting up on the side of the street. Like, I had no idea that Vancouver was so fucking hardcore.
Just that there's like 3 blocks that it's the worst part of
really?
the entire country. Yeah, it's Main and Hastings is the intersection. That's actually right where the studio was that I worked at. We're 1 block
No shit.
over. So I had many nights, I had to go to the bank for a producer or something when I was 20 or 19, and coming back with like $1,000 cash in my pocket, walking through this sea of crack addicts.
God damn. That's hardcore, man. But I mean, it was gorgeous. I remember pulling into the city. We went over a bridge, and it looked like fucking Camelot. Like these gorgeous towers and really ornate bridges. I was really blown away. Really gorgeous city.
That's the one thing. Most cities in the States that we go on vacation a lot in the States in different parts, and that's sort of the most jarring part, is the majority of the country is kind of gross looking. I'm sorry, but it's not a pretty place for the most part. There's beautiful
Wyoming exists.
Wyoming.
Nebraska is a real place.
Yeah,
fucking
we drove
Arkansas.
through it on the way here.
Yeah. Well, it's basically the coast is great. The East Coast is rad. I mean, obviously New York City is one of the best cities in the world. If you haven't been, I'd highly recommend it.
We still have to go. We live so close, but haven't made it yet.
Yeah, you do live pretty. How close do you live to New York?
It's like a 7-hour drive or something, 7 or 8 hour drive, I think.
Broseph, you got to do that, man.
I know.
It's fucking legendary. And then obviously on the West Coast, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, rad cities. It's kind of like the South is kind of cool in its own way, even though it gets a little weird down there. The coast is great, and then the North is kind of cool too, like Montana. Maybe that's it.
So
maybe the rest
basically,
of the North kind of sucks. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I think it's kind of the same in both countries. The middle kind of is questionable.
Yeah, the middle is just sort of there.
Like we have
to be. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we have the prairies, which we actually when we drove from Vancouver to Toronto when we moved, and we opted to just get out of Canada as soon as possible, duck down into the States, because It's just there's nothing to see. Like from Alberta, from the province
Really?
beside BC where Vancouver is until you get to Ontario where Toronto is.
Yeah.
Apparently, just the drive once you cross the border into Ontario, from the border to Toronto is like a full 12-hour drive or 14-hour drive. It's just massive and terrible and boring.
Sounds like driving through
Yeah.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
What is it like? Is it like a frozen tundra? Or, I mean, what the fuck does that look like?
It gets cold.
Or is it like a prairie?
I don't know. I didn't drive through it. I went through the States.
Yeah, I guess you did just get done telling us. You did
never,
drive through it.
never seen it, but he just
Yeah, I
avoided
just-
it at all costs.
I'd rather go through Detroit than that. So, you know.
Oh, oh wow, that
Yeah.
says something.
Well, and Canada's history is a mystery to me as well. Like the whole French-Canadian thing, and that some of the it's called a
Yeah.
province, right? Some of the province they want to stay French speaking, and that there's like a whole revolution based on that, and all this crazy political turmoil in our for our neighbors up north. And I know almost
You
nothing
can't
about
really say that we're
I
not the
feel
ones with the
terrible.
crazy political, you know.
it.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
God,
that's
no.
a whole other thing.
Dude.
But
It is a shit storm
I
down
know.
here.
We were just in Montreal and Quebec is like the French speaking part. We were just there for a weekend, and I didn't realize I'd never really been through Quebec or parts of Montreal outside of downtown. And we went to see, my wife has some extended family out there, and we went to a family event, and there were about anyone over 45 didn't speak any English, like zero English.
No,
It was really
way.
bizarre.
No
Yeah.
way. And it's a little bit different than like France
it's-
French, right? Like Parisian French is going to sound a little different, actually quite a bit different than Canadian
Yeah, they taught
French.
because French is our official second language. So through grade school, we had to take French up until they told me. I actually got told by the counselor, you should probably try Spanish instead, and then
Crap.
didn't work out either. But they teach us Parisian French in school, but then you try and use
Right.
it in Montreal, and people just look at you like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah,
Really?
it's not like
Really?
they don't know what you're saying, but it's just you can tell it's just not conversational at all.
The dialect is interesting. Now, can you speak or read French?
No,
still
not at all.
Today?
No,
not at all.
I can
Not
say
at all.
hello, how are
Gotcha.
you, that kind of stuff, but
But I can too, and I'm a dumb
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's so funny, we're such close neighbors, but we're so vastly different in so many ways. America was born on bloodshed and revolution and guns and like fucking war, and not that Canada wasn't. It's just not the same. I mean, like you said, there's just so many more people down here.
Yeah, it's just
And it's a land of immigrants too down here. I mean, it's just such a unique place to live. It's a bizarre country.
yeah, for sure. It's probably the same here. Honestly, my history is bad. I don't know. I know there were a lot of Indians and natives and things, and it's basically the
yeah.
same in both places at the start, right?
It's still North America. I mean, a lot of the same issues were pretty similar. It's the same fucking
Yeah,
area.
exactly.
Exactly. Well, so I was going to ask you a couple of things here. Yeah, so back to kind of the music side of things, Josh. So you've kind of gone all around with your genres. I mean, you've mixed and produced and tracked everything from country, pop, metal. I mean, you worked with bigger bands. You were part of some of the Good Charlotte projects. Like you've worked with Michael Bublé. Even if it was on a minor level or when you're first starting out. But you've been all around and you've done it all. Is there any type of genre that you want to see yourself kind of get into a little bit more? Is there some doors that you want to open that you haven't today?
Yeah, actually, I think this year especially, I've really been trying to push more into doing a lot more like electronic-based music. I came from doing a lot of rock bands and folk and more bit like band stuff, but I really, really love straight-up pop music. I just this year, I don't know why, I've just been really, really into it, like just top 40 kind of radio stuff. And also, I think career-wise,
Nice.
it makes sense because you can make it in Logic in your bedroom and it still actually can compete with other things on the radio. So there's way more as a mixer opportunity for me to do that. There's tons of music out there that needs good mixers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially today, it's so popular right
Yeah,
now.
so
There's definitely a market
for
out
sure.
there.
So yeah, I think mostly pop. I would be curious to get more into, I don't know about rap, but like R&B at least. Like I can get into that. There's a few genres that I haven't really
Yeah.
explored that fully. I've done R&B pop stuff. Like there was this guy Sean Jones I did last year that was I mixed a 4-song EP for that was it's still pop, but he's like a R&B soul kind of singer.
Yeah, I'd say he's a little bit more soul.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
So sort of exploring that, I guess. But this year, like you said, I've done. I mean, today I was mastering a classical solo piano record, which is not something that happens
That's
every
right.
day. And then before this, I was listening to mastering back for the Mario, this Venezuelan pop artist that he's in Toronto, but he's from there, and just here on a visa or something. So it's just all over the map.
It literally all over the map. That's the thing about working with you that's been so interesting, is you quite literally work with people all around the world.
Yeah,
And I find that really
I
interesting.
do too. It's really interesting as well. I find that a lot of the people that find me online, or that's kind of how they find me if it's international, is a lot of them want to sound like North American artists. So it's kind of a good spot to be for me because they're hiring me because they like what all of us collectively have decided sounds good in the last decade.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun because they're
Exactly.
just like blown away, but you're just doing stuff that that's how we do it here. It's just
That's how
everything's
you do it. Right,
loud
but
and
to a guy from Argentina.
yeah, it's just loud and big and like everything's compressed a lot and it's just huge.
I can tell you I've been really getting good at using WhatsApp, the app WhatsApp.
Yeah, everyone outside of North America loves
right?
WhatsApp. It's so annoying.
I know, and it's like the only way you can effectively talk to a guy from Argentina in real time.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you line up the time zone issue.
gotten
I mean, it's just like texting them. It's
Yeah,
great.
I've gotten pretty good at the time zone thing. I know we'll still take some. Even with us, the 3-hour difference is surprisingly hard to
know.
deal with.
It is surprisingly hard.
Yeah.
I know. Because you're like,
our-
God damn, I wish James would respond to this email by now because it's 8 o'clock. For
Yeah,
you.
it's like 9.
And you're like, God damn it, the day is gone.
Yeah, but it's all good.
Right. Yeah, we'll get the hang of it.
Totally.
I think Mr. Neil Engel had a few questions for you.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
I don't know. Who is it? Is it a ghost?
Neil's not here, man.
Can you see Neil? Can you see Neil over Skype?
I'm like in the corner
Nah,
over here, cramped away like some fucking. Yeah,
I can see him hiding over there.
Okay. Yeah.
That's me. I'm in all black today. I'm in all black every day, I think.
Yeah,
That's-
you are. You're
you
a
got-
little rock and roll.
Yeah, you got the uniform.
Yeah.
It's the Portland uniform.
The Portland uniform, dude. I'm curious about your workflow. So what's like a typical day in the life of Josh Bowman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I mean, so if I'm doing a lot of mixing, I guess that's the most typical workflow. Lately, it's been a lot of random other stuff, but usually workflow-wise, say I'm in a good spot in the year where I have a backlog of projects and the calendars, filled. I allocate kind of a song a day average when I'm doing projects, unless they're really complicated or really simple. So usually I'll have prepped a session the night before, coming in the morning, everything's already routed. I can hit play and hear the rough mix. So I'll get up in the morning, make some coffee. And right now I actually have a pretty nice setup in our home. I'm moving to a commercial space in January, which I'm really excited about, just to get out of the house and have that separation. But
Hell yeah.
so right now for this current setup, go home, make coffee, make an egg, come upstairs, and just start working. So if I get up at 8:30, I'll be in Pro Tools by 9 or 8:45, and listen to the rough mix for about 30-40 seconds until I get it, and then just start mixing, and then forget to eat lunch. About 5 p.m. get really hangry. Realize that why I hate the mix so much. Go eat dinner. Come back, love the mix because I'm full, and hopefully it's close to done by then. If it's not, I usually do like 8 or 9 hours of work max. That's with some breaks and things in there. I go on a lot of walks when it's summer. I find getting out of the house, especially working from home, walks are essential to making good mixes. If I don't,
This I literally just slapped Neil when you said go on a walk.
dude, my
Because this kid, he's such a workaholic, and it comes from a good place. All he wants to do is just nail that mix. You know, he just wants to kick ass. But
The breaks are so important.
But the breaks are so important.
I have a different kind of break. See, I am addicted to nicotine, unfortunately.
you have the forced
Yep.
Those
outside.
are my walks. Yep, exactly. It forces me outside.
Yeah,
Still,
exactly.
While you're getting healthy, I'm getting unhealthy. Is what's the difference there?
But there aren't weeks and weeks where you forget to take the breaks. You always take the breaks because your body tells you to. I'll do this on a good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like nice out. I'll get in the habit, and then 2 weeks later, I'll forget about it, and I'll just be squirreled up inside for like a month and a half. You know, and then.
Right.
I get that. For me, my thing is because of the combination of coffee addiction and nicotine addiction, I'll forget to eat for 2 or 3 days at a time. So it's like
Jesus Christ, Neil.
I usually only eat once a day.
killing me,
Usually
Smalls.
it's usually about like 9 or 10 o'clock at night after I'm done with all my shit,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, okay, I can breathe
right,
again,
you need to
so
eat.
to speak.
Yeah.
So
I had a pretty great. So before we lived in our current place, when we first moved to Toronto, we lucked out and found a really great 1-bedroom kind of open concept apartment, like a separate bedroom, but the rest was, open space. And my wife, being the supportive person she is, let me set up the living room. Instead of a dining room table, we had a mix room, and I had bass traps and a seat like cloud and the whole thing. And that was amazing because she had a 9 to 5 at the time, so my work day would basically have to be around when she wasn't in the apartment. So I actually had a structured. She left at 8, and then I had until about 6:30, and then she got home, and I didn't want to be an asshole and be playing my mix on the speakers when she's home because there's nowhere else to go in the house. And that was actually amazing. That was why I'm moving into a studio outside of my house, because I think I need that structure to be a little bit healthier mentally and physically.
I'm the same way. All the stateside work I do. I have a house. I don't have any kids. Me and my wife have a little house. We have a 3-bedroom home. I have a room set aside as an office. I never use it. Ever. I can't do it. I'm terrible at working from home. So I literally, like, Neil's always going like, why the fuck are you always at Starbucks? Go home. Don't you have a coffee maker at home? Like, he just doesn't get it. But it's the same thing because I have to leave to really engage and turn on that working brain. I don't know. Hopefully that changes someday, but I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah, I go in phases. I mean, it also depends on what I'm working on,
Right.
how excited I am
course.
about today's song.
Yeah.
So you said you typically do a song a day. So if you, for example, if you were to get like a 10-track LP, you would do one song of that record each day?
So yeah, if say
Is
it was
that
like
typically-
sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh, yeah. So say, if it was like a 10-song kind of full band thing, I would budget basically. So also, I'm trying really hard to not work weekends. I work every weekend, but in the schedule
You sure
initially,
do.
I will budget. If it was 10 songs, I'd budget 2 full weeks with weekends off, and then I end up working basically all day Saturday both days.
Right.
Because you know how it goes, right? There's revisions, that kind of thing. Usually, though, I'm getting better at estimating. But it's every project's different. It depends on if I recorded it or if I know the producer was good or
Sure. I'm going through the exact same kind of mentality, trying to take weekends off and stuff, but working on the weekends anyway.
Yeah, it's hard.
So just for my own curiosity, let's say you get a mix project where they needed it yesterday kind of thing. Do you still allocate that sort of time and tell them to basically F off? Or like, how do you handle a situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't really. When I get last minute things, it's never been. I've pretty much never gotten a mixing gig so far that was like, hey, we forgot. That means either someone bailed or they forgot to hire someone or whatever, right? If they want it tomorrow, let's say, or the next day. Usually I'll have. Well, I'm doing a thing actually this week. It came up where I got a project today that we just booked for something that's going to be recorded tomorrow and Friday, and then they need it delivered by end of day Saturday. They mix and stems it's a song that's going to be in a TV show, like a network show here, and so there's a hard date. So I'm going to go in Friday night after they finish tracking, hang out with the tracking engineer, make sure I get the vibe of it, and just start prepping Friday night. And if it's not too late, just work till 12 or 1, get up at 9 or 8, and just plow through it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen that often.
So that's what I was gonna ask. So yeah, so you've never gotten like an EP or an LP or something where you would not like, let's say an LP where you delegate 2 weeks of time with weekends off, maybe working on the weekends, but they need it done in like 4 days. Is that something that has happened before?
That only happens when it's a restrictive budget. So the song a day thing is basically I can do my optimum amount of work and really do the best job I can in about an 8 to 10 hour day, whether that's spread out over 2 half days or whatever. I think that's kind of like about how long I need to make something amazing, where I'm sending it out with no hesitations to the artist. I do a lot of things where they're like, hey, we have $1,000 to mix this album. And I was like, okay, well, let's negotiate a day rate, and we're going to do 3 songs a day. And it'll still be good, but it's, a different thing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it did. So, I mean, like on a personal level, like putting out a mix that you weren't able to put your full gusto, I guess you could say, into, does that affect you at all, like personally, or is that?
I mean, I really try not to listen to my work that I do. Like, I usually won't listen to a record I worked on for at least a year after we finish it. Like, once I hear the masters and approve.
And now I'll slap James. 'Cause I do the same thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
dropped.
I'll try to listen to it, I'll approve the mastering and be involved in that part of the process. But once it's out, I generally take like 6 months to a year before I'll listen to it again. I just don't, it's done. There's nothing I can do. It's still going to sound good. I can do good work quickly. It's just, you don't get all the little details. I don't spend 2 hours on delay throws and dialing in the exact, that kind of stuff.
Right. So in that that's a good point. So in that situation where you're on a limited budget, limited time, where in your mind, because you do put out awesome work, I've heard it, sounds fucking rad.
Oh, thanks, man.
So where in all of those little nuances of a mix, where do you determine what I can work on, what I can't work on? I'm not quite happy with this, but we have to move on. Like, where is that line? I'm sure it varies.
Yeah,
But do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that was sort of what you were asking before with the workflow a bit, as far as specific workflow of how I approach a mix.
It was alluding into that, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like actually one thing that I didn't mention, I skipped a lot of parts in my brief kind of history of Josh earlier. I did also work full-time in advertising for audio for about 7 months a couple years ago. That's right. And I did, before that I'd done gigs, I was a freelancer that got the spillover from a buddy who did it full-time. And so that actually taught me a lot about prioritizing and working quickly, because I know there was one day there where it was mixing a TV spot for like an insurance company or something, but there was a miscommunication between me and the producer, and at 9:15 a.m. I found out, I thought I had that whole day to sound design and mix this commercial, and I found out at 9:15 in the morning that at 10:30 or 11 the client was coming in to do a final review and approve it, and I thought I had the whole day to do it. Like, I hadn't started it, wasn't doing anything, I hadn't opened the OMF yet, so I just had to figure out, like, okay, what's important. It was a thing where there's a guy and a PA, so it had to sound like he was talking through a PA. Background sound, skip it. So with mixes, it's the same thing, where rhythm section has to sound great, vocals have to sound great, make it feel like it's a thing together that's happening in a room or whatever the context is supposed to be. But then as far as like getting into really specific delays and getting into like a lot of automation, that's kind of where, that's usually near the end of my process, or not end, but like 2/3 of the way through the day will be a lot of the heavy automation and really building effects and things. So that's
the final little details.
Yeah, it's like the little detail that makes a huge difference, but is also, it's not like you can't hear the lead vocal or something, it's, if
definitely
the drums and the vocals are awesome and the bass is good and then the mid-range stuff is there, it's like the song can be great,
Yeah,
exactly. So how long in a guesstimation, because when you're mixing, I'm sure you're not keeping track.
Yeah.
If you're anything like me, you're just kind of going with the creative flow. But so yeah, like let's say you get a rock band, maybe typical kind of sort of thing. Like, what do you do? Like, maybe, I don't know, just throwing out random numbers. You know, like 20 minutes on the drums, not even that.
I'm
5 minutes dialing in the guitars.
this is for like a full like a day a song kind of mix.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or both if you want. If you want to allude into it.
I mean, for something that's not time restricted, that's kind of like a normal budget. I would say I'm pretty slow, actually. I'm a really slow mixer, and I've tried really hard to do it faster. And there's lots of people that say like set timers, or you should only spend this much time. Get a rough mix as quick as possible. Get everything up as quick as possible. That doesn't work for me because I know how it's going to come together at this point usually. And so I like a lot of people say, lots of people are really against soloing, which I totally understand. The idea of hearing it in context is the only thing that matters. There's lots of big mixers that do that. I don't work like that. I know what I want things pretty closely to sound like in solo to make them work in the mix, because my style is also like I do like pretty clean, like not clean as in there's lots of distortion and stuff, but it's not like I don't know how to say it. Like I have a really clean aesthetic. I like everything to be really clear and heard clearly, and there's a spot for everything, and so it's really carved.
I use the word hi-fi.
Yeah, totally, exactly. I love hi-fi.
Yeah.
So I can do the other stuff, but that's sort of my natural gravitation.
Well, you can take a hi-fi thing and make it sound dirty, but if
exactly.
you have a dirty thing, it's not necessarily going to sound clean.
Exactly.
Right, you know what I mean?
But so time-wise, I would say probably putting up drums, if they're recorded well, 10 minutes. If they're not recorded well, 20 minutes to 45 minutes. Like if I had to do a lot of weird phase alignment or that kind of stuff. And at that point, I put in samples pretty quickly if the drums aren't amazing already. So I'll start to layer in all that stuff and kind of get that going. Within the first half an hour. Bass is probably like 15 minutes at the most. Maybe if it sounds good, 1 minute. If it's like a faders up thing. Guitars, I don't spend unless they're fucked, like unless they're really poorly recorded, or they send me DIs and want me to decide what the guitars sound like, which I hate because it's like, how do you do that, right? If they didn't play through the sound, it's going to be not right.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's sort of like guitars are usually really quick EQ and quick balance. They're like the fastest thing, probably 5 minutes for the rhythm section stuff. And that's sort of the order I do. Like I do pretty traditional, like, start with the kick drum, go through to I do kick snare, overheads, then pull in the toms and room mics. Then I'll do bass, then I do rhythm guitars. And then I'll go and do the vocals after that before I put any lead stuff in, like any lead instruments or synths or strings, if there's that.
I do the same thing. Yay.
Yeah, it's like pretty
We're
traditional.
brothers.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a good way to do it. Because you're early enough in that you can still, the vocals can still take up their space, and you figure that out, and then you can put all the other shit in after and do what you got to do.
Right.
Vocals, 15 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes on the lead vocal, including adding a few effects and figuring out a reverb. And then I guess a lot of time after that, just really doing little EQ moves and like making it all sit together and figuring out, if it wasn't obvious already, what it's supposed to sound like what the vibe is. Or at that point I'll be referencing the rough mix a bunch. And so how I start by getting it, if it was done by a producer that did a good rough mix, getting it as close to that rough mix as possible, and then pushing it past that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Got a couple more questions for you, Josh. So the first one I'm always curious about, how do you think you do with deadlines? So if there's a project and it's a pretty hard deadline, do you feel like that's something that motivates you and inspires you to do better work, or does it kind of make you? I mean, it obviously depends on the length of that deadline. But let's assume it's a pretty aggressive deadline, right? Like you don't have a lot of time to fuck around. Let's say it's pretty strict deadline. Now, is that something that inspires you and makes you in turn do better work, or does it make you feel stressed out and bum you out?
It doesn't really stress me out. I mean, if there's a bunch of people in the room with me and there's a deadline, I get a little stressed out. I really like not having people stare at me while I mix the whole time, because I'm just way less creative. I just don't try things.
Oh yeah,
that,
of course.
But no, I definitely don't do better work on a deadline. I don't have any problem meeting them. Like, that's sort of, again, back to the advertising thing. Like, I can prioritize if I have to and get something that I think people are going to like that I might not be 100% on, but I think is going to be acceptable and good. Hopefully good to great, depending on what we're talking about.
Sure.
The thing is, though, with mixing, just love it. Like, I love getting up in the morning and working on music. So for me, unless it's something really terrible that, whatever, all music's all different. There's some things that are a lot of editing and some things that just are great players in a great room. If it's a cool project, which it luckily is most of the time, I'm just excited to get up and work on it. So there's not really, like, I don't need a motivation most of the time. It's sort of,
Yeah.
I'm just like, get up. I'm so lucky to do this and excited to do it, providing
Where
I
do you
haven't
think
done
that
it.
comes from?
Just the passion of it.
Yeah, is
Yeah,
it
like-
gratitude that you're not digging a ditch somewhere, or like
Yeah,
it could always be worse kind of thing?
I've tried to quit 3 times, I think, in my career and get like a day job, and I got
I'm on
real.
2.
Yeah, I got real jobs. I worked at a call center for 3. I basically lasted through the training period and then 1 week of the actual job, so it was like 2 months, I
Yeah.
think.
Dude,
And-
we're not cut out for it, man.
It's just
I'm right
like,
there with you. Can't do it.
Yeah, there's a guy. There's there's groups of 20 people, and there's one manager for the 20 people, and he has a computer screen that says what you're doing and how many minutes you've been on the computer and how many minutes you haven't been on the call. And if it's like more than a
off.
minute between being on the phone, they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And so I just like go in the
Jesus.
bathroom. I just take a lot of
Jesus.
bathroom breaks and
Oh, sure.
that kind of thing. That didn't last long.
that's
And
no
then
life.
when I first moved here, actually, what really pushed me into being this driven, I think, and making this just happen for myself is I got here. We moved to Toronto. I literally knew one person. It was a guy I'd mastered a record for once. That's it. I didn't know
Yeah.
anyone else in the entire city. My wife didn't know anyone except maybe a couple of friends from school in an unrelated field to what she's doing. So we really had to just meet new people and do the networking thing and go out as much as possible. Go to like random meetup groups we found online, like all this kind of weird shit. But in the meantime, I had to make money, and so I had all this live events background work, which is easy to get work doing if you're a personable, nice guy. Because a lot of people
Sure.
who've been doing events for a long time are fucking weird and hard to
Yep.
talk to. So,
Sure are.
Yeah, exactly. So you can excel pretty quickly in that. And it can be fun. So anyway, I was doing a bunch of event work. We were doing this warehouse gig where we were in a warehouse unstacking and restacking 40-foot truss because they had to scan the barcodes from the bottom of the pile. So it was, first of all, just bullshit day anyway. And the guy I was working with almost broke my foot, basically. Like, he dropped this huge piece of truss. I had steel toes on, but it's like only covers the toe cap. And it was just, it was almost really bad. And I left.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I just said I'm never doing this again. And I left, and I figured I got mixing work. Like, it was hard for the first 6 months. 'Cause I didn't know anyone, but I just made it happen. I just went out
You just
and
made it happen. Yep.
pushed past my comfort zone because I'm not naturally an extrovert. I don't love going out to shows
Right.
and talking to people, but
Right.
I was just like, I'm not doing this. I can't. And
right.
So that's what you did. You went out to shows, just started talking to local bands and
Yeah.
cutting
when
deals, I guess, or
we got here, I remember pretty vividly after the initial panic of us both being unemployed and moving to a new city. I would go to a coffee shop every day for the first 2 hours of the day, and there's a couple sort of cornerstone venues here that have Tuesday, Wednesdays are like free nights where local bands play. And so I just found they have the show listings for every month. So I went and checked out every single band that played those nights of the week, and any ones that were half decent just cold emailed or tried to like connect with on social media, and just did that all day every day or a couple hours every day for several weeks, and eventually got some people that way. I volunteered at some music festivals, just doing, running like the tiny PAs in medium-sized rooms and stuff, and met some bands that way. Met
It's
other
literally
engineers.
it's literally identical to how I got my start way back in the day. It's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah, it's just, you just got to do it. The other thing
Just
that
go
actually...
out and talk to people.
Exactly. The biggest
Exactly.
thing I noticed moving to a bigger city, and I can't imagine what it's like in an even bigger city in the States, but in Vancouver, there's not that much work. This is my perspective, at least just from, my own situation.
Sure.
There's not a ton of work. So it's very, everyone's very, not greedy is the wrong word because no one's malicious about it, but there's finite work. And so you take the work you can get, and there's not really a lot of sharing. Whereas here, the first couple years, it ended up being, once I started to meet like local engineers and producers, I got a ton of work and still get a bit of it through people that were too busy to do gigs, and they liked me, and they knew I had like kind of this background of coming from a big studio, so there was initial trust there, and they actually gave me work, which was like mind blowing because in Vancouver, no one had ever given me a gig, you know, because it's just it's all you gotta keep the gigs.
For sure. One thing I wanted to talk to you too about, Josh, and I think the audience will find pretty interesting. I know Neil and I have talked about this, and we love that you do this kind of shit. For one, you have a really good following on Instagram. I mean, you have, what, 11,000 followers, plus or minus a few?
11 and a half now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic for, you know, my guess is you did most of that organically, and you just hustled, and yeah. So there's that. Well, and the other thing that I commend you for doing is you're continuously adding value to people, even if they're not clients. You're always asking people what they want. You know, you're always thinking of ways that you can give back to the community, the music community, the mix engineer community, producers. And now, especially lately, you've been doing a lot of sort of tutorial videos on YouTube. Can you talk about your process and why you decided to start going about all of that stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Instagram thing was actually a really specific event that triggered that. Like, I had an account, and I didn't really. I don't actually love. I don't love social media. I think it's actually a huge problem in our society, and it's giving us all like some pretty serious mental illness issues that we wouldn't have, and like pushing all this stuff. Yeah, it's really weird, right? But it's the world we live in.
But it is what it is.
And it's a way I can meet people that I would never meet in any part of the world. Like, there's no way I would meet this guy from Venezuela, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And not to interrupt you, but I can verify that you do book work because of it.
Yeah,
I mean, I can sit here and say that happens.
I just did the breakdown today, and I think 18% of my work this year was from random online clients that never had met me, had no connection to me at all.
Wow,
which is not a lot, but it's significant in the year, you know.
Well,
so
shit, yeah, it is 18% of your total year income, and it's better, right? I mean, you've done more since then, and it's continuously growing. So maybe
and those
next year it's going to be 25%, right? You never know.
For sure, and like hopefully at least half of those are going to be repeat clients that come back with their next thing.
That's right.
And, you know, it all builds.
Right.
So yeah, I think the Instagram was actually, there's another thing I did when I got here is there's a couple of meetup groups that meet like once a Saturday a month or whatever, right? And just networking about music. So I started going to a few of these pretty religiously, and they have speakers. So they had a speaker that talked about, she was a musician that also owns like a media company that does, you know, social media promo and all that kind of stuff for like some pretty big agencies. So she did sort of a free talk about how to grow your social media accounts. And she gave some pretty specific advice for Instagram specifically. And I thought, well, I'm in a specific niche. It really lends itself all to Instagram because I'm in cool studios. Like, I'm freelancing, so it's a unique opportunity because I'm in different rooms all the time, and so I can always take pictures of different people's gear and stuff. Lots of cool shit to look at. And so I just did what she said, word for word. I set an alarm and did follow certain people that met certain criteria every day, every hour, like for 4 or 5 hours of the mix day. I just had an alarm every hour, and I do it. And it just started building, and it went from like 400 people, and all of a sudden it was at 5,000, and now it's like after 8 it kind of started just growing on its own.
Yeah, snowball.
And then exactly. And then so the other thing is the YouTube stuff. That was also sort of, initially it was more of a selfish thing. It was a way for me to just get my name out there. But then I realized there's actually a niche, not a niche, but there's a lot of people that do it. And as someone that's always learning, and like every other engineer, Neil probably does, like I watch a ton of content about other people mixing and like tips, and watch other engineers' workflows online. And a lot of them are really hard to watch. Like, they're just long and boring, and like even to someone that's so interested, I find them hard to get through. So and they're also, a lot of it's just aimed at beginner stuff, so it's hard to find the things that are actually valuable to experienced engineers and still interesting. So the stuff I put out, I try to make things that are accessible, but I'm actively trying not to do, this is what gain staging is, or this is how you record a kick drum. Like, I don't want to do that shit because there's so many good videos already of that. And I want to do things that, like, Neil hopefully could watch a video I made, and maybe he does all the same stuff because it sounds like we do the same things essentially. But, you know, like, you could watch it and say, oh, that's interesting to see his workflow, and you can relate to it, and there's no huge sections you want to skip because I'm just showing you how I route my session and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
So it's really just making videos that are accessible to engineers that aren't on a beginner level, but those people can still digest them, I think.
That's great.
Yeah, I totally get that because there is a lot of videos out there that are there's. It surprises me how many videos are out there that are incredibly basic, but really bad advice. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I have actually watched a couple of your YouTube videos, and legitimately our routing and kind of workflow is almost identical.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
Wow.
amazing.
like verbatim. But I mean,
That's funny.
how are we doing on time? Do I have time for one more
Yeah,
question?
go ahead. One more question. We'll take our break and we'll come back.
Cool. So this Instagram lady you spoke of, the speaker.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
can you elaborate? Because this is another thing I get. I work with a lot of young bands and artists that are trying to like basically build a name for themselves. And I admittingly am not the best when it comes to social media. So when they ask me these kinds of things, I don't. I have some advice, but not a lot. Shut up, James.
I'm giving a shit.
What were some, basically to cut right to it? What are some of these? Because it works for you. What did this lady suggest as far as building your social media brand and that kind of thing? What were some more specifics? You alluded to one.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what I did. It's not complicated at all. And the thing is, it's really specific to my account. Like if you look at my account, there's nothing about my personal life. There might be 2 pictures out of 100. It's all pictures of gear. There's not even a lot of pictures of me. There's maybe 1 out of every 10 pictures is some kind of selfie thing. 1, because I hate them,
Yeah.
and 2, because no one cares. Because everyone I'm following. So how I got the followers, and this will filter back around. How I got the followers was basically what she said was, you know, there's like you follow someone and hopefully they follow you back thing. But what are the odds they're actually going to follow you back? It's like pretty low. So how you figure that out is, her advice was to find a really popular account that was really specifically the niche of what you're putting out in your account, and then go to their newest post. And ideally, this is a company like I think I was using like Apogee, some of the monitor companies, like maybe Neumann, a mic company, something like that. So I'd pick companies like that, big audio manufacturers, and I'd find the one that put out a picture within the last 2 hours, like 1 or 2 hours, the most recent picture I could find. And then you click on the people that liked that picture recently, because they're all engaged users that are currently on Instagram in the last hour. And then you follow as many as you can before it stops letting you. And so you bring your odds of getting followed back up exponentially, because they're people that like what you're doing and they're on Instagram right now.
Well, let me interject there, because I actually did some of that for a while as well. I know Neil kind of fucked around with it too. You said at one point before they stop you. Now, I'm sure Instagram's always changing, and you can't really keep track of how many they let you follow or unfollow. So did that happen for you, where they'd stall your account or say like, "Whoa, buddy, slow down, pump the brakes"?
Yeah, I got banned for like 4 days once, or 5 days.
Yeah, I got banned from following for about 2 days myself. I didn't get banned from using the account, but
I got banned from. So I got stopped from following a few times, but I actually got like banned. I couldn't log in for a few days once.
Really?
Because I was doing. They thought I was a bot or like an automated service, because I was doing this alarm every hour, and so I've kind of eased it back a bit after that.
For it.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's actually, if you Google Instagram follower limits and then the date, there's 1 or 2 blogs that actually they don't publish them, but there's people that like are doing trial and error all the time, because there's there's marketing people that do that for a living, so they need to know. And so there are actually usually 1 or 2 blogs. If you just Google it with the date attached, because it changes like monthly or quarterly, you can get like pretty good estimates of a ballpark, and then just don't hit that quite. Like maybe if they say you're allowed 50 people, do like 45.
50 like per hour typically.
Yeah, exactly. And there's different. And then also the other thing is, she was saying like, you don't want to follow a bunch of people then unfollow them all, because that's kind of a dick move in the whole ecosystem, because then you're just getting them to follow you back. But if you give it like a week, she's like, give it a week, and if they haven't followed you back, then it might even be an inactive account. Like who knows, right?
Yeah.
So that was sort of the rule.
Did you say and
rule
then
of thumb.
kill him?
Yeah, I sure did.
And then kill him.
They don't follow you back, kill them.
Yeah, just the
Find
murder.
where they live and murder their entire family.
So that was point
just-
1. And then what? Or sorry.
They just send
Yeah,
drones. I was gonna say. Murder drones.
Right. And then what were the other tips after that? So that the following thing.
The following thing, that's kind of it. Just following. Oh, and hashtags. Hashtags are good.
Hashtags are big. Yep.
Yeah, actually interesting. So I listened to a bit of the episode you guys did with Travis.
Yep.
And one thing, I saw Travis's Instagram, and he's really, I think, because his Instagram's just like, it's mostly just pictures of his studio, like the majority of it. It's like over 50% pictures of the same room over and over, but they look great. They're good pictures, sick room. But then I was like, how, and he actually is, I think he's like up to 14 or 15,000 or something. Yeah. And it's just interesting, right? So I went and looked at, and he's got hashtags, and so I think he's great at using hashtags, and he's
really.
I also
good
think,
at it.
I think that Nashville also really helps, like
Sure
just
does.
hashtags for Nashville, because, like, I actually started tagging some of the bigger music center cities in some of my photos just to see, because then it shows up in people's feeds when they're in those places, and it does actually change engagement a bit.
Oh, dude, anytime I'm in LA, like this last trip I did in October, beginning of October, anything I would post in Los Angeles, if I would hashtag LA or Venice Beach, West Hollywood, and especially if I do location, like, you can tag your location. Dude, it was like unlike anything I'd ever seen. And I was, the activity on those posts were, I don't know, 5 times the amount as they were back home in Portland. So I think that does matter.
The one final thing I will say is consistency and quality of content is way more important than I thought it would be. If I do anything slightly off-brand, like if I post a picture of me and my wife somewhere, or even if I post a picture of me in the studio instead of just gear close-ups, it gets like a third of the engagement. If I do anything not audio, it gets like 40 likes, but I could do a studio picture that gets 1,000 or 1,200.
That's really interesting.
It's crazy. Right. Like, no one gives a shit what I'm doing outside of the studio.
Fuck. That's right.
That's not interesting.
That's something that I tell the bands too, is like, it's not a personal page, it's a brand.
Yep.
You gotta, and there is the consistency, like you mentioned, and James mentions to me all the time, of like putting out stuff. It's a big part of it, but then there's also that fine line of like, okay, like a picture of a toenail fungus may not be, you know what I mean? Like, there's just examples like that, and then like you said, like just the fact that you said what you said, you're paying attention to what people are interested in and what people are liking.
The other thing that's a lot different, like a band account is super different than my account, because my niche is really, really easy to figure out. It's like audio gear, with bands, if they're not established, like if Coldplay's Instagram can post whatever the fuck they want because they're celebrities, right? So it's a different thing. People want to know the minute details of their lives.
They themselves are the brand.
Exactly. I mean? And like anything they do, they could be drinking a water. It's like, I'd look at Coldplay drinking water. Like, I don't know. Right. But for everyone else, you got to figure out what your audience likes, whether that's just like maybe the whole thing is only posting pictures of the band while they're a band. Like maybe it's just like pictures from shows, pictures from rehearsal, maybe some funny videos in there when they're doing band practice. But like, I think really keeping it until you're actually at some kind of celebrity status, or like quote unquote, kind of thing where people give a shit about,
I guess you could say.
Yeah, like when people give a shit about the things that they shouldn't give a shit about.
Right.
I think until that point, you need to stay so focused on the thing that you're trying to be. So in that case, just a band. They're not people, they're a band.
Or a mix engineer.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Love it. All right. Well, we are right about at our half point here. We're going to take our ceremonial piss break. Josh, this is where we all go pee together.
Touch each other.
We touch each other, molest each other in the bathroom. We compare dick sizes.
It's crazy how they change every time
they always
do
change.
It,
Mine's usually the biggest. Sorry, just the truth. And then we'll come back and talk about some current events, where our producer Andrew typically leads that segment, and I'll ask you some funky and fresh questions when we come back. We will be right back.
It's my dick. It's my dick.
That might help, right? Alrighty. Welcome back from the pee break. Did everyone have a successful break?
It was good, yeah.
That was a nice thought. I like that. That was very pondering. How about you, Josh? Did you pee out of your big dick?
It was actually upsetting at first. I forgot I had asparagus for lunch.
Oh, gross. Gross.
But,
And
after
that's
that,
the
we're all
podcast.
good.
Thanks, guys, for coming back.
Welcome back to the Smelly Pee podcast with Josh Bowman.
Yep.
How about you, Drew? Did you have a good, successful break?
Yeah.
Good. He's a man of few words, everybody. Well, now we'll do our current events section that our trusted producer, Andrew, tends to run. What do you got for us, Andrew?
Well, first of all, let me say
Oh,
that this
whoa.
could be interesting because we have a Canadian's view on American events.
Interesting.
Yes.
And for reference, Josh, we have a screen behind you that you can't see. So, sorry. Just use your imagination. we have
for
a
being
big
so considerate.
flat screen TV behind you that you can't see. So if you see us looking over your head, that's what we're doing. Take it
No
away,
worries.
Drew. What do you got for us?
A new single from Glassjaw.
Woo!
It's pretty cool. So yeah, the album will be out.
Fuck, they played last night.
Yeah, they played last
all
night.
collectively didn't go.
Nice.
Yep.
God damn it. Josh, do you know who the band Glassjaw is?
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with them, but I know who they are for sure.
Yeah, okay.
I've heard the music.
That was a big band for all of us in this room. Very influential band.
Where are they from?
New York, I believe. Long Island, I want to say. Definitely
Cool.
East Coast boys, for sure. But yeah, they took a long break, hiatus. Daryl, the singer, went on to do... Help me out, Andrew. Fucking... Beating Heart, Baby.
Oh, why can't I think of it?
Shakin', shakin', bid to be.
Fuck,
Beating
I've
heart,
listened to that record all the goddamn
Head
time.
Automatica. Head Automatica.
Automatica, yeah.
There we go.
you go.
Uh,
I'm
If you haven't heard
embarrassed.
them, Josh, check them out. They're like super sassy fucking pop rock, I guess is what you'd call
nice.
it.
I haven't checked it out. I'll check it out after.
Yeah, really good stuff. But anyway, that's rad.
So
is
yeah,
that...
upcoming album pretty soon.
Fuck yes, dude.
That'd be pretty
Sweet.
cool.
How
It was
many songs?
December 1st,
12.
I think is what it said, right?
12? God damn.
December 1st?
Wonder who produced that motherfucker. Not Josh Bowman or Neil Engel.
That's fucking right, not.
Damn it. Is that my fault? Shit.
That's your fault.
I was giving them shit over the break that they didn't pay me enough. And then they both looked at me and said, well, maybe you should find us better work so we can pay you more. So they put me in my place.
Yeah.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how this works.
Glassjaw announced first new album in 15 years. That's fucking exciting, man. I can't wait. They're on a tour right now, Josh. They're on tour with the U's. They're another big
Oh, nice.
band from back in the day.
Yeah, I know them like pretty well.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
have you noticed that too? That a lot of bands from back in the day are doing tours together and kind of...
Yeah, for sure. Like the last 5 years, maybe it's gotten. It's funny seeing these resurgences of all these like late '90s, early 2000s
Totally.
bands that haven't done anything in 5, 6, 7 years.
Yep.
It's I mean, it's all like album sales became not a thing, and they're like got to make money. So
Yep. Touring and merch. That's one of the two
Yeah,
ways
exactly.
you can for sure make money if you have a following. That is.
yeah,
And not a 3.
yeah, and if you're good at all
Yeah,
that,
that too. That's right. That's right.
yeah.
Well, that's cool. What else you got, Drew?
All right, Trump makes Pocahontas remark referring to Senator Warren at Navajo Code Talkers event.
Jesus Christ. Did you hear that, Josh?
Yeah, that's that whole situation is really upsetting. It's funny here, like we actually hear a lot about American news.
Yeah.
Like it's still like because it's like the North America current events, really, right?
Right.
And it's just that whole situation is just like so troubling.
It must be. I can't even imagine what you must think.
Well,
I mean,
I just don't want you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just don't want you guys to get us. I don't want you guys to get us bombed. Like, just we're like up here doing our thing. I'm not going to war because your president's an asshole. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? Or like,
Well, the funny thing about that, Josh, is you guys, don't take offense to what I'm about to say, but you guys kind of barely have a military, right? I mean, you have one.
I mean,
but let's be honest.
I don't know. Like,
Who's-
I've never talked about it with anyone I know because it's not a thing here that we're worried about because we don't
Interesting.
piss people off.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've literally
I
never talked about it with
I
me.
had a feeling this was
I
going to
only
happen,
know-
guys.
Oh, that's so weird.
I maybe. So actually, well, I only know maybe 2 or 3 people that have served in our military, like that are not veterans, that are grandparents and that kind of thing, that were in one of the world wars.
Right.
I know maybe a couple people's significant others that were served here at some point, or did tours as support for like American military, and I don't know what it would have been, like Afghanistan or something. But when Trump got elected there, the day that it happened, I actually had. It wasn't a panic attack, but like I had this vivid image of me having to go to war and how unprepared I am
You being
physically to
drafted?
fight anybody.
Yes.
Like I'm just a skinny white dude that's 32 that sits in a chair and
Oh,
listens
yeah.
to music all day. I couldn't do shit. If someone came to try and take over our house, like raid and pillage our like women and stuff, like what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I don't have guns,
right.
But I don't want guns either.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do because I've thought about this as well. So what you and I are going to do, we're going to go be like audio spies, like recording.
There you go. You're like the code breakers.
Because we actually, actually
code
have a skill set.
I got nothing.
That's true.
I'm 5-0 and weak and a loser. I've got some guns in my house, but it's not like I know how to fight a goddamn war. I'm useless.
Yeah, I feel like what's the stat about like that those guns being used against you? Mm-hmm. It's like pretty high. The percentage is alarming.
Yeah. If an army invades, I'm so fucked. I mean, I'm just.
You're not. It's not happening.
Yeah, well, I'm done. Yeah, I know that like Canadian military, they were a big part of World War II. Like they used to serve alongside the Brits, right? They used to serve along. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, my grandpa on my mom's side, I think, was like a minesweeper.
Whoa.
For after,
Crazy.
which sounds like a terrifying job.
Of course it does. Sounds awful.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't imagine
but-
anything more anxiety producing.
By the way, we're not talking about the computer game. We're talking about actual mines.
Some dorks like I
In the
love
ground.
Minesweeper.
It's like Minesweeper. That's old.
That's
My
like-
parents used to play that.
Yeah,
It's not Minecraft.
not Minecraft. That's hilarious.
I don't actually know what Minecraft is. I just know it was a thing 10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't even know what that like. I don't even know what it looks like. I don't know anything about that game. I know my nephew was obsessed with it for a while. That's just about it.
Well, we'll draft him
Well, yeah, no,
to go sweep the mines.
Yeah, that's our new post-war cleanup crew.
There you go.
James's nephew.
Well, back to the original news article. It sounds like Trump's being an asshole again. So now we can move on.
Yep.
What else you got, Drew?
Sweet, more asshole.
More asshole.
All right, Prince Harry. Ooh. He's gonna be getting married.
Yay. Dude, is that weird to anyone else how, like, I don't give a fuck about the
don't give a
fucking, the royal family in
Who
England.
the fuck is Prince Harry?
There you go. That's a good question. That's I happen to know who he is, but that's what you should be saying.
You know what? It sounds like a guy that needs a pair of like an electric razor or something for Christmas to me.
Yeah, do you know anything about the British royal family, Josh?
Yeah, this is like a classic. You guys are like America, fuck yeah, kind of situation to me because it's actually funny, very timely that you're talking about this. I guess this is why it's happening. So my wife does all this. She does like some media stuff, like she's on the news for different things.
Yeah.
And she's actually going to be on a national news spot tomorrow night talking about that specific event. Like she just told me like 10 minutes before the podcast started, she came on and said, "Guess what?" And she loves. I don't care about Britain at all. I'm not.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. But she's actually, her family comes from that part of the world. Like their lineage is British and stuff. So she's actually loves all that shit. Like she's obsessed with period pieces and
Really?
the prince and the whatever. And
Wow.
I don't know.
Well, I've been to the UK 3 times in my life, and it always blows me away how much of a thing it is still over there. But
the country
yeah.
itself? Is that what
what's
you
that?
mean? It surprises you how much the country itself is still a thing over there? Is that
no, how much the royal family is
Like-
still
Oh gosh, yeah. I was
You know what I
like,
mean?
wait,
Yeah.
what?
like it's just still so ingrained in the
Oh no,
society.
I know what you mean. No, I just thought that was funny.
I'm surprised that
Yeah.
Britain's even a place.
I'm surprised it's a country still.
England is a joke.
Oh my god.
Is Canada still part of the
Ugh.
Commonwealth?
This-
You know, like how Australia is still part of the what they call the Commonwealth, loosely part of the UK. Are you guys still part of that? Or do you not know? I get the impression you have.
I
no
don't
idea.
know. No idea.
Does your
I
wife?
literally don't know.
Sorry.
Probably. She's downstairs though. I can't yell that loud from here.
Gotcha.
Well, I was just gonna ask: does he need a straight razor or electric razor? Do you know? Does she know what kind of
Say-
razor he likes to take care of his problem, his hairy problem?
Oh
That
my
was a
god.
terrible
Moving
one.
on.
Shutting up for
Yeah,
the
that was
next
bad.
event and whatever.
Well,
Shutting her down.
congratulations to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
I don't. Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
And what's her name? Megan.
Meghan, who cares? is her
Megan
name.
Harry.
What else you got, Drew?
Megan Harry.
This I did not know. I guess Timberland had a little
Ooh.
pill addiction going on or something.
Oh,
But yeah, he says he's back. He's gonna make a comeback or something. But he's been gone for a while. But,
Damn, go back up to the top there, please. The greatest producer of his generation got hooked on pills and almost lost it all. Now he's ready to return to the charts. Well, I want like opiates, I would imagine.
Oxycontins, I think.
Yeah, that fucked over
Ugh.
a lot of people.
Nah. That's tough.
It's it's an epidemic down here. Is it a thing up there, Josh? Do you know? Like, are a lot of
Yeah.
people-
I mean, like opiates specifically. I don't know
Like
anyone that's really
prescription pills.
into that.
yeah.
Like I don't actually. That's a good question. I don't know because maybe I'm assuming I don't know if the regulations are different here, if it's easier or harder to get them, but
Right.
it hasn't come up for me personally in my life. Like I don't have any friends that are, fell down that kind of route.
Right.
But other drugs for sure, but not like there are other drugs that are illegal drugs, not legal drugs they were using illegally.
What
that
what
makes
is
sense.
the drug sort of? I mean, I know it's a broad question, but what's sort of the drug policy in Canada? Is it similar to here?
Like drug is in.
I mean, like illegal. Yeah, I mean, is it criminalized?
Well, like-
it is here.
Yeah, for sure. There's like obviously like pot's been kind of an ongoing changing thing. I know there's some places in the States that's legal now, like Colorado and
And here,
I don't know where else,
Oregon.
but yeah.
Yep.
Okay, there
That's
you
like
go. So do you
Washington
guys?
as well.
Is it
California?
legal recreationally there?
It is now.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, that's supposed to happen next year here. It's not like you can't get
Is that
arrested for
countrywide
possession of small amounts. Yeah, I think it.
or just
It's like it's already legal medically, but for recreational, I think they're doing. I think there's certain provinces that it's going to be at first. I know some of like
okay.
Alberta, which is sort of more of like it's like the province is like oil, it's its main export and that kind of thing. They're a bit more redneck generally. That they're like being pretty stingy, and there's lots of barriers being put up by government there to try and stop it from happening. Ontario and BC is obviously
sure
weed capital of
Pretty liberal.
Canada.
Yeah.
Very
You're in
liberal, same with-
Ontario, right?
Yeah, so I'm on the east side. I'm not on the east coast, but I'm like, I guess it's technically central Canada.
Yeah, because you're right above Detroit, more or less, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm northeast of Detroit.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I think probably similar. I'd assume just from that the policies aren't as strict here, but I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Luckily, I haven't had to find out.
Gotcha. Well, back to Timbaland. That's great. I hope he gets better because, dude, he's one of the best.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dude, he's put out some fucking shit. God damn, man. I mean, think about stuff he's been a part of. I know, Andrew, you're a huge fan of that shit.
Dude, that solo record that it wasn't a solo record. What was it, like 2007? I want to say
Yeah,
that
it's
one that had like JT and Nelly Furtado on.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I jammed that hard.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You're over there
yeah.
snickering at me, and now you know. What's up,
I just
dog?
laugh at your face is all I'm doing. No, I'm.
I just laugh at your face is all I'm doing. Is that what you said?
That is. That's a new Timbaland song. You haven't heard it yet?
I just laugh at your face is all I'm doing. Oh, dude, I forgot. Wait, go back up, Drew. But he feels compelled to talk about his experience in the wake of deaths of Chris Cornell, a friend and collaborator. I forgot that he collaborated with Cornell.
Yeah, they did it. He did a solo record with him.
That was a garbage record, wasn't it?
It was-
What
He was
record?
off the opioids.
It was pretty
at that
bad.
point.
I don't think it worked.
Yeah, I don't think it worked. Do you remember that one, Josh?
What record was it? I missed that.
Chris Cornell, produced by Timberland?
No.
Yeah,
I gotta go listen to that immediately.
It was terrible.
Well, it probably
Yeah,
happened
that's
before
unfortunate.
the pill addiction. Then
Yeah.
that's probably what happened.
I'm a huge Soundgarden fan, huge
That's
Chris
terrible.
Cornell fan in general.
Terrible joke I just made.
He did. He worked with Prince. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I didn't hear. It's crazy.
I don't think
I'm
he-
not surprised, but I didn't know.
Oh, maybe he's just saying.
Oh no, it says no. So
Oh,
you
okay.
read it. Yeah, Prince, who was probably Timbaland's greatest music hero.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and he's dead now.
Quote: I came up from the era of drug dealers. It's now we're in the era of drug users. Wow, that's cool that he's like
Wow.
open about it though. Dude,
I
I mean,
didn't even know he had a problem. He just disappeared. Now he's
Right.
back. And
Yeah, I
that's-
was wondering what was going on because he kind
Me
of
too.
just like
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
producing much, or I mean,
yeah,
I guess he did like Beyonce's 2013 album, but
it's
besides that,
it's a good reminder. I mean, no one's above it. Like it can fucking happen to anybody, and especially with the prescription stuff, because it's not like if you go shoot heroin, you're making an active decision to go out, on the fucking street, in the mean streets, and go buy smack and shoot it into your fucking arm. That is a huge choice. But if you break your leg or you get chronic back pain or
Yeah.
nerve pain or crazy dental work, and a doctor, a white coat doctor, is prescribing it to you, like there's a trust there, and it's a doctor, they're giving it to you, so you fucking take it, and it just depends on your makeup.
Yeah.
But you could be addicted pretty easily.
I mean, I'm definitely a person with my work life. I'm a person of extremes. I'm not great with moderation. So actually, I had a really bad shoulder. I had a shoulder injury 2 years ago. I had a really, really bad bicycling accident, and I think it was OxyContin. It was like the half, whatever Advil is.
Yeah.
Like a really high dosage of Advil mixed with
Ibuprofen.
that. And I had to throw out half the bottle after because I was like, I can't have this around. Not that I would.
No,
but
I hear ya.
Just like, I can't have those options.
See, that's
Like, I
cool
just-
that you could do that. I'm the type of guy that probably couldn't even do that. So
Okay, my wife might have thrown it out. I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily, but
she told you she threw it out, and then she's like partying on the other side of the house.
yeah.
If she was
No, she's
all of a
pretty
sudden a little
strange, but-
chatty and a little euphoric, just in a really
for sure,
great mood.
that stuff's so. Yeah, it's a slippery slope for sure with any of that stuff.
Well, it sure is, because you take, and it starts out so slow. You take one Vicodin, and then that stops working, so you take two, and then before you know it, you're taking 6 in a day and drinking a couple
Yeah.
beers on top.
Next thing you know, you're doing a podcast every Wednesday.
You're doing a podcast every Wednesday. Started out slow.
Ugh.
All right, well, let's move on. What else you got, AC?
all right, Matt Lauer, he's been sacked from NBC
Oh
For what?
no!
for sex allegations.
Another one.
Another one bites the dust.
Damn.
Do you know who Matt Lauer is, Josh?
Nah, don't know it.
He's an NBC. What do you call that?
The
Correspondent?
Today Show.
Correspondent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does the Today
okay.
Show.
He's
It's
been
like
on TV for decades.
Yeah, he's been on NBC doing news-related chairmanship for years. Chairman? That's not the right word. Anchorman. Anchorman. I read the word chairman.
I like chairman.
Yeah, it sounds fancier. It sounds like a
Yeah,
post.
exactly. It's pretty official.
Yeah.
NBC says it has reason. Go back up. Drew.
Oh, sorry.
Reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident.
Jeez, and they just straight up fired him.
Multiple women.
Everybody's getting exposed.
Oh, he's been there for 20 years.
Yep.
Why so many sexual harassment? Wait, go. Sorry, Drew. Why so many sexual harassment cases in U.S., not U.K.? Question mark.
Josh?
Whoa.
Can you chime in on that?
Yeah, Josh. So, what do you make of all this, all the crap that's going on down here with all the sexual misconduct?
I think, I have a pretty, I guess, liberal view of. I think it's great that people are talking about it.
Of course.
There's a lot of accusations flying around now. It's pretty overwhelming because there's all these, people like you guys read about the Louis C.K. thing, and then he actually admitted what he said was, I don't think it makes him it doesn't change what happened, but he reacted in a way that's at least sort of respectable. I still think he's an asshole now,
Sure.
but you know what I mean?
We've talked about it here
just-
a lot. Yeah.
People are talking about that kind of stuff a lot more, and I think there's a really big. It's funny because my age, my generation, I feel like we're we feel like, you know, there already are equal rights, and like we haven't had to live through anything where people are really, in Canada at least, you know, put down compared to other people. But then feminism and all that is misunderstood pretty often.
Sure.
People think it's about like women hating men and that kind of stuff. But I think that whole conversation is really important, and I think it's great that there is this much news about that related stuff now, because it's bringing a lot to the surface.
Right.
And sort of the conversation is finally going to where it's just about equal rights. It's not about anything else. And like people make it out to be this whole crazy like gender battle.
Right.
When it's just like, no, women just want to get paid the same amount as men for the same jobs and be respected.
Sure.
It's
like we've talked about here. It originates from a good place. You know, it comes from a positive place. Is there a bit of a witch hunt now? Sure. But I think eventually things are going to even themselves out and things will fall in the right place. But these assholes can't continue to get away with this shit.
Well, what boggles my mind is the fact that like in movies and stuff, you see this kind of thing in dramas, you know, like men in power taking advantage of women trying to work their way up the ladder. But it's starting to look like that may not have been an exaggerated fiction.
I know.
It looks like it's
that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, it looks like it's
like a real life movie.
Yeah, and like
the Weinstein
granted,
shit?
you know,
That's wild.
like I'm still trying to work my way up some sort of ladder and whatnot, but like in Hollywood and, you know, the TV world especially, it's looking like this is kind of standard practice, because like the Weinstein thing, it was written into his contract. Did you hear about that?
No.
He was sexually harassing so many girls in various ways that in his contract with the company, they had to put in like a paragraph or whatever saying like, you can continue to do this, but every time you're gonna get fined and it's gonna go up. So like the people knew it was happening, but it came out that it's in his contract. If you would like to sexually harass and abuse women, you're okay to do that, but we're just gonna find you more each time.
That's fucking nuts.
It was in his contract.
Holy shit.
That's
crazy.
Standard practice.
That is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up, but it's also part of like capitalist society, right? It's all about money.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just,
No, I agree.
It's shitty.
It is shitty, but I think ultimately you're right. It's good to see. I mean, I don't know. It all comes from a good place.
I think
the waterfall of people the waterfall of people getting exposed now. Hopefully it's, even if like it could be a witch hunt on some of these.
Sure.
But if the people that are doing it now are going to go, oh shit, I better stop.
That's right.
Like,
fuck yeah, dude.
That's the good side of
all scumbags take notice. Like, you're on notice.
The fact that 4 dudes are talking about this right now is like a huge deal, I think.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
I would have never.
I know.
7 years ago, I would have never hung out with some buddies and talked about women's rights. Like, it just wouldn't be a thing that I even thought was a problem, because I'm a white guy and I don't know, right?
Especially, I mean, Andrew and I grew up. I mean, we're all like, we respected women. We're good guys and everything, but we were fucking scumbags. And like the shit, some of the words, derogatory words we used growing up, we just didn't know any better. We were fucking like monkey brains.
Beavis and Butthead generation.
Beavis and Butthead generation. That's right. We had different things on our mind. I don't know, but
no, it's totally. And
like sometimes I think about the UFC and how like grown ass men will sit around and get in a heated debate about who's the best female fighter. That would have never even entered my brain not that long ago, a handful of years ago. No, Ronda Rousey's the best fighter. No, Misha Tate is the best. Like on the Rogan podcast, I mean, they're yelling at each other. And it's grown fucking aggro alpha male dudes.
Yeah, that division has grown.
Right?
It's gotten super popular. It's pretty
awesome.
awesome.
Who would have thought that the sport that took off for women would be fighting?
Yeah, huge.
A sport
right?
where they're punching each other in the face.
Yeah, it is a good point.
It's fucking rad. It's so cool. It's a good time to be alive. I mean, it's like you said, you can't get away with this shit anymore, man.
Well, it's an interesting point you just made. It's a good time to be alive. I feel like the how do I word this? The older people in these, you know, industries like the Matt Lauers and stuff, the Weinsteins, like they had a way of living, and that was normal.
Right.
And now their way is coming to an end. Our way is coming to fruition.
Interesting.
So it's like the whole. I feel like there's with the Trump thing and all we could go on and on and on about.
Is it kind of like the
shit
Goonies,
happening.
where it's like that's their time up there. It's our time down here.
Well, it's like it looks like, at least to me, who's somebody who lives in a cave. Like,
Well, Josh lives in a cave. It's called Canada.
right, but
America!
but
Blame Canada.
but no, it looks anyway. It
Yeehaw.
looks like there's a huge
Sorry,
shift
Josh.
happening to get back on track. You know. So anyway,
Sorry, go ahead. Keep
No, that
going.
was
it's
that-
our time.
No, that
it's
was
our time.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, like the one way that society and industries have been ran, at least it looks like in the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
are starting to flip now.
Yep.
Like the like the old generation's on its way out, the new one's
Fuck
about to
yeah.
come in, and Josh Bowman's going to be the leader of that industry.
Yeah. Canada. Up on the rise.
I'm calling it. I'm calling it.
Freedom.
What is today? November 28th.
November 29th.
November 29th,
Denver.
2017. Josh Bowman's going to be the leader of the free
I
world.
love it. I love it.
Oh my God, that's a dangerous thing for everybody.
Well, if
But,
all this...
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just I was gonna say it's crazy. Like all this stuff stems from the change in technology and the internet and communication, right? We can all talk now in different parts of the world
Yep.
and share views. And you're like, oh, there's like one guy in their town that thought maybe everyone should be treated the same, but
Yeah.
the other 100 people didn't.
Yeah.
Now, like I can talk to another million people, and also he's not alone. It's a real validated viewpoint.
That's right.
And like this whole thing is so new, right? I mean, at one point in my childhood, I didn't have internet.
Me
And
too.
I had dial-up, and then the internet was a thing.
That's
you know?
right.
And yeah, we're like
Yep.
anyone, my wife's little sister who's now in her mid-20s, like she grew up with all that stuff and doesn't like it was just different. It's such
Yeah.
a different thing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's.
Well,
I mean, it wasn't
And
that
it
long
shapes
ago.
everything.
Yeah, well, Gary. You and I talk about Gary Vee all the fucking time. He said it too. Like,
Yeah, I watch him a lot.
Oh, do you?
there you go. So okay,
All right,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
welcome
I'm
to
a
the
big
club. We talk about all the time. Just
Yeah,
the
Gary Vee-
mentality.
Gary Vee makes that point all the time about all these fake CEOs on Instagram. They just put CEO before their name, and it's like social media. All the bullshit's just getting exposed.
Yep.
You remember that analogy that he
Yeah.
made? I'm doing a terrible job of bringing.
No,
it up.
I know exactly what you're saying.
But this
I know- I
sexual
remember it, yeah.
this sexual allegation stuff is just an exaggerated form of that. He called it.
Yep.
All these people are getting exposed. Granted, they're not like putting dick pics on Instagram, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like the internet and
absolutely.
social media and everybody being connected, it's all just coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You just can't get away with. I mean, you can't get away with lying. Like Joe Rogan was always talking about people who would steal jokes. The fellow stand-up comedians that would go and plagiarize jokes. And historically, in the past, if you didn't happen to be at that same show and like spread it with your buddies, people could get away with it. Like you just didn't know that someone
sure.
was stealing your jokes. But now, fucking YouTube exists, Twitter, Instagram. Like you can't get away with it. You can't get away with it, man.
Everything is recorded forever
Forever,
and documented.
just like right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, like I've tried to take
Nothing
credit.
ever.
I've tried to take credit for his mixes
Me
several
too.
times, and
I
I can't.
tried.
I can't get away with it.
I don't even
anymore.
mix, and I tried.
Yeah.
It's like, check out this new record I did, and they're like, you didn't do that. Josh Bowman did it.
And I'm like, fuck.
Josh Garlic Bowman.
Josh Garlic Bowman.
That should be it. That's my producer name. The guy with 3 names.
Sorry, before we came back on, I don't think we were recording, but we were talking about Bowman,
Oh, yeah,
Bowman's middle name. What is it again?
It's Garrick.
Garrick. And he told us
It's a
a
weird
story
name.
about how was it? Did you say it was garlic originally?
So the story I was told as a kid was that grandpa or great grandpa was actually called Garlic, and he proposed to his wife, but she wouldn't marry him until he changed his name because she didn't want to be Garlic. And he was in the Navy and got called Stinky.
There you go. There's a story. I love that.
Josh
That's the
Stinky
story.
Bowman.
It's-
Josh Stinky Bowman.
Dude,
So,
that's it.
I mean, that's
Sorry,
not false.
you're stinky now.
That's genius marketing. Are you kidding me?
Americans like to nickname people, Josh, so we're gonna call you Stinky. You're Stinky from here on out.
There's worse things. It
Yeah.
could be worse for sure.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
a glass
there's-
half full kind of guy.
that's right.
Dude, I guarantee you everybody that listens to this podcast is not going to remember your name. They're just going to remember you as Stinky from Canada.
Josh Stinky from Canada.
And you're watch, we get off we haven't even released the podcast yet, and you're gonna have a flood of work coming in for Stinky.
Oh yeah, can Stinky mix my songs?
Sweet. Oh my god.
That's awesome.
He's not even gonna be on the next episode, but I'm just gonna keep I'm making stinky stick. I like
me too.
it.
I like that, man.
That's awful. That's a terrible
Josh
nickname.
Stinky Bowman.
All right, Andrew, what else you got for us? What
Holy
else is
shit.
going on in the world?
So I guess the Keystone Pipeline leaked some oil.
Oh, that's
last
nice.
week.
That's fantastic.
They're saying
That thing that everyone said would happen, that they said wouldn't happen, happened like every time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Josh, it says the picture says this aerial photo shows spills from Trans Canada Corp Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's Canada's fault.
Blame Canada. Wait, this is in South Dakota.
It might be the
God,
pipeline company.
Oh wait, it's in South Dakota.
it's in South Dakota.
It's in South
Motherfucker.
Dakota, but it's a trans-Canadian company.
Does Canada do anything wrong? God damn it.
You
guys
Is it an American company?
No, it's a. It looks like it's. So what I'm gathering, it's a Canadian company that contracted the work out to an American company to build it in
That's
South
right.
Dakota, but the American company fucked it up.
Yeah, the incident.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It says the
Just
incident.
build it right.
Yeah, just build it right. God damn it. You see, if you guys
do it
would have
right
built
and
it,
it's
it would have been
fine.
better. It says it spewed over 200,000 gallons of oil
my God.
into fields near Amherst, South Dakota.
Not just
Oh,
fields,
I'm just- yeah, check.
agricultural land.
Agricultural fields. Substantial leaks in the pipeline since operations began. Oh my good lord. Oh lordy lordy lord.
Yeah, that's crazy. I actually just watched a documentary here
Yeah.
about one of the pipelines that's running through BC, and the whole documentary was like focusing on the native people that live there and how
Sure.
they were really opposed to this pipeline. Like epic story, it was great. The
What's it called?
I'll find out and I'll tell you. I can't remember
Okay,
right now. It was like anyway. The kicker was a couple days. I think it was two days or something after they finished filming, the oil pipeline leaked and like caused this huge.
Fuck.
So
thing.
it's a pretty
And there's
standard
a-
thing. It sounds like.
Like they were making the documentary to combat this thing, and it happened within a week of the documentary wrapping filming.
Oh.
And it was like it took like I forget if it was days or weeks. It took a long time for them to actually react and clean up the oil, and it's this devastating thing that will like basically wipe out a bunch of these native tribes that lived indigenously in these areas,
Right.
because their whole communities are based on things that involve the water and the wildlife, and they all died.
Right.
Well, that whole British Petroleum thing happened too. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
big
huge,
BP
it was
spill.
huge.
So it's not all our fault.
Yeah.
That happened in Louisiana, I feel like.
But why
Definitely
is
an
all this
American
happening in
company.
America?
Because
Why is all this
it's
happening
America.
in
I
America?
don't know.
I've never once heard of an oil spill
damn.
in Dubai.
We also have way too many people here.
Oh wait, he has apparently.
What's the population of Canada? Like, do you know how many people live in Canada, Josh? Off the top of your head?
I can check on the internet.
Oh.
It's
That's what
I don't
Andrew's
know.
doing.
I don't know facts.
Andrew's doing it.
About
Oh my God.
I know
36
compressors.
million.
36.29 million as of 2016.
So basically, Los
Calif-
Angeles lives in Canada.
that is crazy. to me.
California has 39 apparently.
Get this, Josh.
Isn't that crazy?
So I went to
Like, is-
get this. I went to Ireland about a year ago ish, like a year and a half ago, to go visit my aunt and cousins. Anyway, I looked it up. This gives you just perspective on how big America is. Not even just with population, just big landmass wise. The whole island of Ireland is 1/3 the size of Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that again.
I believe
That includes the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is Belfast. All like the troubles and all that terrorist turmoil and all that shit that went on. All that history, the music, the novels, all of that shit. 1/3 the size of the state of Oregon. That
like
is
Ameri-
fucking crazy.
That's crazy. So America
crazy.
could have essentially just nuked the whole island and it would have been gone.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah. I
No
mean,
more terrorists.
No more terrorism.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just being a dick. That's
Well,
fine.
I hear you. He's racist against Irish people apparently.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Josh.
But no, like most of Canada's landmass, like you can't live there, right? Because it's like, is that true? Like it's a big country, but there's not a lot of like livable.
Yeah,
land.
to me, I picture Canada as like a couple cities, a couple goofy French people, a couple dudes with fur hats, and then like the tundra.
Yeah.
That's all. There's
There's-
no way that's accurate.
No, we have cities and not. I've never seen a real igloo in my life.
I'm just kidding.
Right,
But,
Toronto, by the way,
no, but
I was telling the guys before the
peop-
show that Toronto looks fucking rad to me. Like I was just watching.
Toronto's a great city.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
It's awesome. I can go out. I could see live music probably 7 nights a week easily.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Definitely like the whole north half of Canada is sort of what you described. Like there's like dog sleds and
Really?
all that for real. Yeah,
Well,
it's actually like that.
Yeah,
I've never been there.
That's the point I was getting at.
I've never
It's like
been
it's a big landmass, but there's a lot of land up there that.
So it's like Australia almost?
Yeah.
Where like most of
I
the
guess.
continent you can't live on.
Yeah, because I think
common.
landmass wise, like, is it bigger than the U.S.? Like, it's an actual
Nothing is bigger than the U.S., Josh. Take that back. How dare you?
I don't know. I'm looking at the map right now, and it looks like it might be bigger.
I think it's
or the
bigger.
same at least.
I think it
looks
is.
bigger.
I think it is.
It's really big, but
Nothing's
there's a lot
bigger
of
than Russia,
just
though.
forests. That's true. Russia wins.
Yeah, Russia is like, I don't remember.
They're tough.
Yeah,
and,
it's
Anyway, to get back on
scary.
track, I feel like that's why their population is so low. It's because there's not a lot of
there's
livable
no
land
options
mass.
for that.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Like coming from Vancouver, the city center of Vancouver, like the downtown part is not a peninsula. Like it's connected to other land, but it's bridge access 3 of the 4 ways.
Gotcha.
And it's probably you can walk from one side to the other of the core. I'm talking like the downtown core. Probably in under an hour and a half, you could walk across it.
Whoa.
Maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
Like in Toronto, I can walk for 2 hours east on the street we live on, and I'd still just be walking past shops and restaurants
Right.
and
It's a
things. Like it's
big
it's
city.
just infinitely bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like skyscrapers and fucking. I mean, it looks like a mini New York.
It's
huge.
Yeah, it's a big city, and the sprawl is huge. Like there's not really, you can drive for
Really.
a long time
You know.
either way and still be going through, smaller cities and things. And
Now,
yeah, it's huge.
when you come down to the U.S., do you? I mean, this is probably a stupid question, but I mean, do you really feel like you're in a different country? Do you really notice it the way that you might if you go to Europe or some other country?
It depends on where you go. Portland, not so much.
Right.
Portland feels really homey. It was actually the best experience I've had traveling pretty much ever. We had several. We were walking around drunk, like trying to find this. There's a bar there that has old arcade games and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
cheap beer. Yeah. So I
whatever
forget what
it's
it's called. They have like hot dogs and stuff. Like it's a total
Drew, what's
90s
that
kind of
arcade
vibe.
place called?
From where?
The arcade bar in Portland.
Ground control?
Ground Control.
Ground Control.
It must be Ground Control.
Yeah. So we were trying to find ground control,
Yep.
and like 2 or 3 different people stopped to ask us if we needed help. Like when we were drunkenly walking around, like me and Jess, trying to find it at midnight or 1 in the morning.
I've never had that.
Like
Nobody ever asked
we're
me
Canadian.
if I need help.
We have the air of friendliness.
Yes.
They're like,
Gotcha.
we're not threatening.
No, you're absolutely right. Portland is one of the friendliest cities in America for sure.
But yeah, so I notice a big difference going most other places. Again, LA. You can tell you're in LA when you're in LA.
Yeah, but
It's just-
everyone. I mean, I can tell I'm in LA when I'm in LA.
yeah,
Drew,
it's just
go
a
back
different
one.
thing,
That's
right?
interesting. I mean, America is so
Yeah.
big and so vastly different that, like, we have
Yeah.
almost nothing in common with people that live in Louisiana. We'll say, right? Or
Yeah,
rural
exactly. It's all these
Texas.
different kind of.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah,
mini
for sure.
countries within a
Dude,
country.
when I lived in North Carolina, everybody looked
Yeah.
at me like I was a foreigner.
Yeah, you always talk about that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it is a
Weird.
different country. It might as well be.
Josh, did you know that Canada consumes more macaroni and cheese than any other nation in the world?
There you go.
That makes sense.
Why does that make sense?
Kind of a big thing.
Do
There's
explain.
there's macaroni and cheese like restaurants. There's not a lot, but there's a
What?
couple in Toronto that are just like mac and cheese.
That sounds awesome.
I will say I'm a huge fan of poutine.
It's really.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man, poutine's so good.
Yeah.
Is that the the
fries and
fry?
gravy and
It's like
cheese
Cromit
curds.
got me into
Cheese-
that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. There's like a chain here called I think Smokes Poutine. It's just like you can get poutine with like was it like Indian like butter chicken poutine. You can get like pulled pork poutine.
Ooh,
Oh, it's so good.
damn.
Andrew is looking up Canada facts right now.
Hence
Josh,
the macaroni thing.
Yeah.
the first fact says the first Canadian casualties of the Afghanistan war were from an American pilot bombing a training exercise. God
Oh
damn
my
it!
God.
Go to the next one,
Just
Drew.
play nice. Just be friends.
Yeah, just be nice.
We're trying to help.
And then it said, listen to this one, Josh. License plates in the Canadian Northwest Territories are shaped like polar bears.
Is that true?
That's adorable.
Shaped like polar
Yes.
bears?
Yeah.
I've never been there. It's one of those places I won't never go, but
That is amazing. There's
it's like
polar bears
igloo
there.
dog sled territory. Yeah, it's like people actually ride around on dog sleds and snowmobiles and stuff.
Right. God damn.
That's-
That's badass.
yeah.
Like Game of Thrones or some shit.
He's probably he's in his head right now. He's probably like, these motherfucking idiots.
Yeah, these fucking Dude, I don't
No,
blame him.
I'm like, I should probably go check it out. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
I should probably go check out that part of the country.
It sounds amazing.
I still have yet to go to Canada.
Totally.
I need to go.
In 2010, a Canadian man rescued a newborn baby from a dumpster, only to find out he was the father.
What?
That's a Canadian fact. How is that related to Canada?
I laughed
That's
so
just
hard.
a thing that
Website.
happened in the
I
world.
just laughed so hard my headphones fell off.
Need some explanations.
only to find out.
What
he
website are
was
you
the
guys
father.
going to?
What website is this?
Canada?
Facslides.com.
Fact-
Shit that
Backslide.
Andrew finds blows my mind.
Can we look up the American
That's
ones to see how
amazing.
accurate these things actually are?
Canada has the largest coastline in the world.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Every
Didn't know that.
Christmas, 1 million letters are addressed to Santa Claus at his own postal codes. Wait, fuck off. Ho, North Pole, Can. Is there a North Pole in Canada? Josh, do you know that?
No, I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
I know when I was a kid, I wrote a letter to Santa at the North Pole, though, because it was a thing that we were told to do before we didn't know Santa was not a thing.
I think
Oh,
I
yeah.
did that once.
Yeah,
I did that.
I think I did that too.
All right, enough
Yeah,
shit about
no-
Canada. Enough shit talking.
Do you have any
Canada.
other current events, Drew, that you want to bring up?
Yeah, the disaster artist. You know that movie, James Franco, and yeah, it just started premiering.
Oh, it's out
Or it
now?
hasn't premiered, but it's like doing like select showings. They had this weekend out in Portland, or
Really?
here in Portland. Rather.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Tommy Wiseau or whatever his name is, he was there for the
Who?
showings. The guy that Tommy.
Oh, the guy from The Room?
yeah, he's been there for like,
Really?
the last 3 showings in Portland.
So
or something.
he's like embracing it and getting into it.
oh, for sure. of
Oh,
course.
that's great. That's awesome. Because I couldn't tell, like,
Oh, I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
in-
well, on the way over
Contact,
here, I was
for
listening
sure.
to the newest Nerdist podcast, and Seth Rogen is the.
Oh, that's
guest.
right. Yeah, I
So
want
he's
to listen
talking
to
about
that.
it. Josh, do you know what we're talking about? The Disaster Artist
Yeah.
movie? So you know about
I don't
the
know the movie. I know all the people.
Oh, okay. So they made a movie
I just missed the title.
about the making of The Room. Do you know
Oh, yeah.
that crazy movie called The Room? It's said to be one of the worst movies ever made, but people also think it's like the funniest movie ever made. Huge cult following.
It's like a
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Dude,
That's what I was gonna say.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
I've been told to see it, and I forgot about it until
It's
now, so I'll check it out.
Fucking believable. I mean, there's just no way to explain that movie. You have to go watch it. One of our friends, Stefan, he's a producer here in Portland. He used to have that movie just like on a loop in his studio. You'd show up to go work with him, and it was just always on. He
That's
knew like
amazing.
every word. It's so crazy. Like, who the fuck is that guy?
Exactly. That's why.
Right?
Yeah, we need more. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, it sounds like it's been doing really well. That's fucking rad.
Look at him.
He looks just like him.
James Franco plays him. That is
All right.
awesome. All right, what else you got, Drew?
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. What you got on the clockety clock? I didn't need to say that so many times.
It's,
All right, well, we got time for a
James is stroking out.
few more. Josh, we have a new segment on the Stateside podcast that I have called
All right.
Rapid Fire Questions with Josh Bowman.
Oh, great.
Canadian edition.
Canadian edition. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So here I will ask you 10 questions. The idea here,
All right.
it's either going to be like this or that, or I'm just going to ask you a flat question. And the idea is rapid. That's why it's called
Oh, sorry. Rapid questions.
Rapid Fire Questions.
Canadian edition.
There you just got it.
It's zoned out. Sorry.
Neil's shooting up in the corner. Sorry, Josh.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh shit! What are we talking about? What? So don't overthink it. It's got to be fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's called.
God, rapid Canadian edition questions.
Rapping Canadian edition.
Rapping presents
edition?
Canadian. Wait, what? No. Rapid fire questions. All right, Josh, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Spielberg or Tarantino?
Tarantino.
Good man. Favorite sport?
I don't watch any sports.
Oh. Well, just choose one.
Yeah, like
5, 4,
okay, fine.
3.
I guess hockey because I'm here.
God damn, I knew you would.
I'll get banned.
Yeah, your Canadians will
Back.
fucking murder. That's a real thing there, right? Like it's just straight up hockey.
Everyone had growing up. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hockey's the thing.
I mean, do you guys even talk about other? Like, do you talk about any American sports?
I mean, I know people that are really into NFL, like in football.
Oh, okay.
We have a league. We have the CFL. So
Oh,
that's
that's right.
Good, probably.
You know, The Rock used to play in the
Um,
CFL. True story.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't know that's
Yeah,
amazing.
very briefly.
Actually, soccer is also in Toronto. Soccer is pretty big, just because there's a really big population of like Portuguese and like other people that
Neil's a
are
big
super
soccer
into
guy. You
football,
know that
soccer.
Neil played in the Olympics in Australia in soccer. That's true, right?
The U11 team.
The junior.
10 years old.
When he was 10, he
Yeah.
went to Australia to play.
Crazy.
We took last place.
But he was all about it.
Well, still,
Yeah.
I know, crazy
it's,
though,
you
right?
know,
Yeah.
out of how many people? That's crazy.
I
I
know.
mean, the Olympics, yeah.
Yeah, the world.
Last place.
Then there's the Toronto Blue Jays.
Nuts.
That's the one baseball team.
Oh, baseball. Baseball's huge. Baseball
Really?
and basketball are huge here. I
Oh,
forgot
wow.
about both of those.
Shit, I didn't
Yeah,
know
because
that.
we have the
I forgot.
Raptors. Yeah, Raptors too.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Toronto.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's actually we went and we saw Raptors when we first got here. It was actually awesome. It was like it's a big show. Like you go and it's just like lights and
Yeah.
dancers and
No
fucking
shit.
epic stage stuff.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, no, baseball's huge. People love baseball here. This is why I didn't have an answer
Raptors
because
is
I don't give a
basketball,
shit.
Yeah.
right?
Raptors is basketball. Yes.
Yeah. Baseball is
Yeah,
the
Raptors is
Blue
basketball. Blue
Jays.
Jays is
Oh,
baseball.
Gotcha.
No. Yep. Yeah.
We have a soccer team, but no one really talks about it. We went and saw a game the other day. It was okay.
Yeah. It's not really my cup of tea. Although the people that I know that like soccer, like I find it.
It's a
it's a romantic thing, and I want to get into it. So Neil, maybe you can help me with that.
I'll jerk you off all day.
Well, I just meant
long.
like
Jerk me
specifically
off,
the
bro.
TFC, like the Toronto Football Club, is awful apparently, or not awful, but they're not,
Gotcha.
the best.
All right.
What's the Major League Soccer team that you guys have up there?
TFC, I think Toronto.
What's the Vancouver one? Vancouver Whitecaps?
Fuck. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Whitecaps.
Yeah, that's Portland's rival.
Really?
Yeah.
The
One of
Portland
them.
Oh,
Timbers.
yeah.
Seattle and them, yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Makes sense.
Back to
I'll try-
back to the rapid fire. Okay, Josh.
That wasn't rapid at all.
No, that wasn't rapid. That was like
That was so slow.
7
Sorry.
minutes.
I'll try to be rapid.
That's okay. All right. Gun to your head. Favorite movie.
Office Space.
Good. Goddamn good answer. Fuck, dude. We are. Dude, you're my soulmate
It's just
now.
it's so good.
It's so
just so good.
TPS reports. Somebody's got a case of the
yeah,
Mondays.
just so many.
Dude, it's one of the
Yeah.
best movies ever made. That's so funny because like people that I'm always surprised how many people don't know about that movie. It blows me
It's one of the only VHS tapes I owned
Me
as
too.
a teenager.
away. Me too. I still
Yeah,
love
I had that. I had Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
I was really into
it.
that.
Yeah, love Donnie Darko.
What was the Fight Club?
Oh yeah,
was awesome.
You're that's my wheelhouse, man.
Yeah, I had like those, and then like Smashing Pumpkins live VHS tapes,
Right.
and that was really all I
Right, I
owned.
have like a Rage Against the Machine VHS or something.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, back to the rapid fire.
Yeah.
City or country?
What does that even mean?
The city or the country?
Oh.
Oh, I thought you meant okay.
Do you prefer the city or the country? Jesus, guys.
Yeah, city.
What'd you say?
City.
City. All right. Favorite podcast?
Stateside.
Yes.
Good answer. Toronto or Vancouver?
Oh, right in the heart.
I knew I'd get you there.
I like if you don't count the people in the city, I like Toronto more. But all the people I like,
Isn't
my
that what
family's
makes
in
the city?
Vancouver, so
All right.
One could argue the people
No.
make the city.
Neil just
Nah.
likes to be a contrarian and argue with people. Don't ignore him. Just
Don't
ignore him.
entertain him.
All right. Favorite alcohol based drink.
Bourbon,
Mm,
old fashioned,
classy.
like those.
Yeah, old fashioned.
I just had one last night, so it was top of mind.
What kind of bourbon did you use for that?
Last night it was at a bar. I don't know what they used, but tonight I was drinking. I think it was Bullet. Is that how you say it? Bullet.
Bullet, yeah.
Whatever. Kentucky bourbon. Yeah, Bullet.
Fuck yeah. You know that's what makes it
I like
bourbon.
I think Buffalo Trace might be my favorite.
Yeah, that's what Neil likes. That's good.
Yeah.
Delish. All right. I can't even read my own handwriting. Oh, if you could live in any time, like any era, what would it be?
The future.
Future. Okay, good answer.
Future.
I always say the past. Here's a very important one, and this defines who you are, and I'm going to judge you heavily by it. So no pressure. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh God.
Oh, I don't think you're going to agree with me though.
There's no way I'm going to.
I liked Star Trek.
God damn it!
I know.
Turn it
That's
off,
what I
Andrew.
figured.
Delete.
No, I'm just kidding. Really?
I don't get.
I thought you were.
I never
so
got into Star Wars. Like I just don't get it.
See, that's how I feel
I
about
don't, I
Star
don't care
Trek.
about Star Wars. Sorry.
Star
Yeah.
Trek is the equivalent
I-
to Pepsi to me.
It's just I watched it growing up with my dad. He used to love like really old Star Trek, and so it was something we did together when I was like 12 or 13.
Gotcha.
So it's totally just like a
Fair enough.
You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
I mean,
I'm a huge nerd and I love science fiction, and
yeah.
it's a bit nerdier, right?
Do you like Battlestar
Obviously.
Galactica?
I didn't get super into it, but I've seen it.
The
I
new
don't-
one.
It's the kind of stuff
Not
I
the
would
old
like.
one. Yeah, I think you'd like it if you like Star Trek. All right, here's the last,
yeah, it's
the
like
last
that-
question
And
of
then I have
rapid
one too,
fire
though.
with Josh Bowman.
I have a rapid fire one. As
Oh,
well.
apparently Neil has one.
do.
So we'll have 11 for you.
Mm.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Good man. What do you got, Neil?
Cream or
He's
sugar?
just-
Well, I got
he's
two
just-
now. Cream or sugar, or neither.
Neither.
Good.
Black.
All right, we are the
man.
same person.
Good man.
All right, here's a geeky one. You ready? Ready for the geeky one?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't hear you.
You ready for a geeky one?
Yeah.
Amphion or barefoot?
Amphion for sure.
Yes. All right, we can be friends.
Barefoots. Yeah.
All right.
I could talk about that for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
That was rapid fire questions with Josh Bowman. Good job,
Yay.
everyone. Clap, Neil.
I
Clap.
am inside.
There we go. There we go. We made it through rapid fire.
That was
Amazing.
heavy.
All right, well, let's wrap this motherfucker up. We're right about there. Thanks for being on, Josh. We appreciate it.
Yeah. That was awesome. I had a good time.
Yeah, man, we'll have to do it again. And like I tell all the guys, you don't really have an option. You have to be on the show.
It's just
Welcome
part of
to
it.
North Korea's podcast.
Yes, with your dictator, James McMillan. Where can they find you, Josh?
You can find me in Toronto. You can find me on the internet at Instagram, Josh G. Bowman, Facebook.com/Bowman Sound, YouTube.com/Bowman Sound, StatesideMGMT.com/
Josh.
Just go there, and then there's like only 6 guys.
Yeah,
so if
there's
you
only
can't
6.
figure it out, don't call me.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't forget to Google Stinky.
Yeah,
Oh,
AKA
yeah.
Josh
Google
Stinky.
StinkyBowman.com.
StinkyBowman.com. You should get that.
As soon as we're
domain
done,
name.
I'm gonna grab that domain just in
Exactly.
case.
Where
If that's
where can they find you, Neil?
Neilio Engel on Instagram. NEILIOENGLE. I just had a brain fart. That was weird.
Where can they find you, Andrew?
Don't mind if I drew. Instagram, aka Sleepy Fuck.
Love it. And Andrew is a talented musician, Josh. He plays drums and he does a electronic project called Sleepy Fuck. Highly recommend checking out.
love the name's
Yeah,
amazing.
maybe you said
I'll
you want
check
to do
it out.
electronic stuff. Maybe you could work with him someday.
I didn't tell you. I started a band.
No.
It's called Stinky Fuck.
Oh shit! Andrew's like, what the
Stinky
fuck,
fuck.
Neil? That's a little close.
I like it. I'm a
What,
fan.
what do you play? What are my options?
Whatever you want to play. I was thinking you could be the. Is that what you asked me? What you would play?
Guitar.
Like whoopee cushion?
Yeah, what instrument?
I don't know. I was thinking you could do part of the live show, like the pyrotechnics. Only instead of lights, it would be smells.
Did you say the whoopee cushion, Josh? Yeah, you can play the whoopee cushion or
Yeah.
like fake fart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can find me at James Ian Macmillan or at Stateside MGMT on Instagram. The website is statesidemgmt.com. And that's just about it for this week. Check in for next week. We have some amazing stuff going on this whole month. Pretty busy. Ryan Lewis will be hopping in, so you'll finally get to hang out with him.
Good.
Neil. Yeah.
Finally, I missed that guy.
Yep. Sounds like Duncan, Mike Milford.
Excellent.
That'll be one.
Mike Milford. What's his? Like, drawing a blank.
Modern Empire.
Thank you.
Yep. Management and the what have yous. Yeah. And thanks again, Josh. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, 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 bye.
My dick is a funny way. I'm not with my dick. When you're my dick, my dick, my dick, and my dick, my dick. Ooh, my dick, and my dick way. My dick, helping you out. My dick, my dick, my dick, my dick. My dick, my dick, my dick.